This is a Saturday night experience on a Sunday evening in London town. And if you're listening live on Twitch or on YouTube later, this is the very first one of our series of interviews with some of our guests for the Goodbeat SNE Weekender coming up in June in Toronto, Canada, if you don't know where Toronto is, but I imagine most people do. It's a big city. My name is Rob Coley, aka Revolutions London. I'm in my loft. Excuse the mess behind me. I need a green screen, but I like to be authentic, if nothing else. So yeah, we're here today to talk to the DJ, dancer, promoter, music extraordinaire, Miss Ice Misto. Please, she will be playing on the Sunday, I believe. It's a Saturday. The Saturday daytime event at Stacked Markets, amazing place in the heart of Toronto. Storage containers, all made into an open air thing. I mean, I'm based in London. I've not seen it, but I hear on good reviews it's a killer place. So with everything going on, let's bring her in and we can start the chat. Anyway, Sandra, where should we start? So I think the obvious place would be, how did you get into all of this stuff?
Okay, cool. A long-winded story. Hope y'all are ready. So I guess
Like,
my first
give me
interest.
your life history.
Cool. Okay,
We've got
cool.
long-winded stories. I don't need to
So,
talk.
sounds good. Okay, cool. So, um, the first time I saw DJing and dancing, there's a program on Much Music called Electric Circus, and I think that was like 1998, I think, when it started. So I was 8. Um, and I would see the Chum building would turn into a club. And so that's where I saw DJing and like how that facilitates dancers. And I was just like, I want to go clubbing, this 8-year-old. um, but yeah, I would just like, I convinced my parents one day just to walk by just to see how it looks like. And it just seemed really magical. And also really looking at the dancers. So when I was 13, I
Mm-hmm.
started learning how to break. And that was through like bboy.org. It was like this forum where you could see like videos and stuff. So I would copy that and then learn that breaking actually meant that you probably would break something. So I almost like injured myself way too hard on my neck. I now have arthritis for my neck because of me doing it improperly. Uh, so that's when I transitioned to a style called
Oh man.
popping. So Mr. Wiggles and all that stuff. And then that doesn't require bone breaking, so that kept me interested, and that's where my introduction of G-funk was. And I learned from a guy, he's an OG in Toronto now, called Frank Boogie at Street Dance Academy, and that's where I went every week to learn from. And
Mm-hmm.
during that time, I was getting into like all ages clubs. So government, circa, they had these really like gross all ages, but it had music and clubbing and dancing available to people in my age group. So that's when I was 16. Um, and I was really listening to hardstyle and trance at the time. Um, and ev- yeah, eventually I got into DJing that when I was 18 with my cousin and my ex at the time. We got a pair of turntables. And then I personally got, or like me and my ex at the time got the little tiny Hercules ones, but the metal one, because they used to
Yeah.
make them good. And that's when I was like practicing how to mix and stuff. It was, if you were 16 in the all ages, it was pretty gross. So I think my perception of it is pretty valid as a 16-year-old woman in a place that, yeah. Uh, but the music was great, and the another reason why I really loved clubbing at the time and like experiencing that is that in your as a introvert and a person who was like painfully shy, I was able to express myself and be like extroverted in a dark place. So like
Mhm.
I think that
I
was
hear that.
a big, yeah, a big reason why I really liked clubbing. Um, so as I was going to learn like street dance, I started volunteering at Street Dance Academy. Um, and there was a teacher named Flat Lady Di who taught me house dance. And during her classes, she would always play Dirty Dale's mixes.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, wow, this music is way better than what I listened to. Uh, and so I started learning about his parties, and I started learning about this party called Patio Dance Sessions. That was facilitated by Makiko and I believe Taz. I could be wrong. Um, but I would go to those, and that's where I heard of Corey Dawkins and Dale and Jason Palma, Gene King. But I'd still be like this painfully shy person that I would be just watching
Mhm.
because the patio session was in daylight and I and it was a little bit of a different experience. So like I would be more of a watcher than actually
Yeah.
experiencing it. Um and through Makiko, I was learning about all these parties. I was learning how to promote through her because she was always advocating for all these like really great parties, and that's where my music started stretching, like the taste of music. Because at the time I was DJing hardstyle trance, but also my ex at the time, he was El Salvadorian, so I played a lot of bachata, merengue, salsa, reggaeton. So in a little way, like when I went to Jason Palma's parties at Footprints, I started to stretch what Latin music and Afro Latin music was and
Mhm.
cumbia music. And it just like became an addiction of like learning the roots of what I was listening to in like a very surface level. It's like there's more. Um,
Yeah.
so like going to the clubs was like kind of like just studying. And then along with the studying, I worked at many jobs, but one specific job was Metro Sound and Music. I was I put merchandise onto their website and selling products, so I became the like knowing the ins and outs of like guitar pedals, controllers,
Mhm.
and just really knew like the in and out of all the new cool DJ gear.
Yeah.
And like I'd be
It's why you got a den
open.
on, right?
Yeah, basically, like now I'm just like always looking at gear and just like learning the insides and out because I would have to sell them sometimes if there's no salesperson on the floor. So that got me really into tech and like learning how to DJ on anything, everything, and it
Mhm.
gets me super excited. And then I also realized during that time that not a lot of people know about sound design and how to use that to their advantage.
Mhm.
So I started researching on more of that. How do I troubleshoot, especially when I go to gigs that are like, I'll come in first and then they don't usually treat me seriously because they just see this like little girl and be
Yeah.
like, you're not the DJ. But then start speaking the same language and then they start respecting me a little bit more.
Mhm.
Um, so it was like helpful in many sense. Um, so my first gig was at Dundas Video when they first opened. It's a video game bar, so it fits to my introverted
And what
aesthetic.
year was this? What year was
um,
this?
I would say 2012-ish,
Okay.
maybe 2011, maybe.
Yeah.
This is like the ex that I was speaking about where I was DJing with. Like, I think it was a turning point in a way that I was able to find myself as a DJ without him. So it
Mhm.
was like doing things on my own, and I chose a Wednesday knowing that it's like a slow kind of day and just did experimentation in terms of what I wanted to play. At the time it was like house disco, but also the selection like SoundCloud stuff.
Mhm.
And I invited people that I really enjoyed going to parties to. So it wasn't just like the house and disco scene, but also the street dance scene.
Yeah.
So I also was a little bit more confident on going to battles and like
Mhm.
just watching them. At some point, I was kind of thrown on the deep end on throwing a battle on my own, because my mentor for whacking, which is like a 1970s California like a clubbing dance,
Yeah.
um, he moved away and basically said, "I have this battle set up, and I can't be here for it, so you have to do it." And I'm like, "Okay."
Baptism of fire.
And Tyrone Proctor, he's one of the like OGs of the dance whacking. So my first battle would be hosting this person and making a battle, and it was like that's a little bit unheard of for someone who's never thrown anything before.
Mm-hmm.
um, so I did that, and it was super successful in a way that like the battle was called Experience Point, and at the time in Toronto, it wasn't also normal for people to battle for the first time. And like if you've never battled before or you're a beginner and you're not ready to battle, like usually you'd be told that you're wasting the judge's time. But experience point was meant for people to have that little stepping stone.
Yeah.
um, and now like people are making battles all the time, and like people are like comfortably entering battles, which is really great.
Mm-hmm.
um, a little bit backtracking to whacking, the dance specifically, it requires a lot of like personality honing, and working inwards. So when I found that dance, that's was the reason that I found my voice, and expression. So I think that played a huge part of like advocating for myself in terms of for DJing, for dancing, um, and then literally talking to you is like a big turning point of like
Wow. I mean,
being
I'm
able to
pretty
talk.
easy, right? I mean, I've been here for 3 years.
Yeah.
I say a lot. I'm not evil.
Uh,
I'm chill. I just like
yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
Much to the milling of most people that listen to my stream, they're like, we just want to hear the vocals. Shut up.
No, it's like it was a huge reason why my confidence went up. So like
Yeah.
whacking is really special to me in that way. It also musically, in terms of like what you have to do for whacking, is not only embodying like what's internally going on with you, but also what you do in your movement also adds to the music. And it
Hmm.
just made me think about not only in dance but in DJing. Is like, how do I like musically put things together, whether that's lyrics or just like telling a story.
Yeah.
Um,
Storytelling. Old
yeah,
school. No one
yeah,
storytells anymore.
yeah, yeah. So
The
I
lost art.
really love that.
Yeah. No, brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself now? Are you a dancer that DJs or a DJ that dances?
Um, right now, I think with how I was like, I kind of put down dancing because of health reasons in 2018.
Hmm.
So now a lot of people see me more of a DJ than dancing, but now because of health reasons, I'm able to gain more like stamina to start dancing again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say I'm a DJ that is dancing, that
Yeah,
that
because
dances. Yeah.
it's important because I feel like, I mean, certainly over the pandemic and on Twitch as well, there's so many DJs that are primarily dancers. I mean, in terms of just people I've met, like CoFlow, Juliet, just people, right? They come through the club scene, they work the door, they dance, then they become producers, DJs, all this kind of stuff. And I do feel like if you dance, you play a lot more expressive music, and you are more in tune with the music.
Yeah.
And that to me is I think it's really important because I mean, I love all kinds of music, right? But there's a definite organic feel to it. It's not like I'm just going to bang in techno. Do on occasion, not often, but that is very much my vibe. And being around dancers and being around people that understand the rhythms that they're playing, I think is super important. And if we're talking about the Saturday night experience, it's something that obviously we try and program whenever we do stuff, because the music part of it is so important. You know, we
Yeah.
want there needs to be a vibe, right? There needs to be a vibe, and there needs to be and DJs that can understand how to move a crowd, and you know, having that dancing element, I think, is super important. Um, yeah, you know, I dance a little bit, but I tend to look like, because I'm so tall, I tend to look like I pogo quite a lot. You know, someone recorded me once, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm taller than most people, and I'm just bouncing up and down. This is embarrassing. You know, I need bendy legs or something.
Yeah.
No, cool. All right. Well, this is nice. By the way, I fixed the technical issues.
Nice.
It was a relay. I've switched it off, so now we're back in the room perfectly. Big love to Alicia, who's just tuned in. We've got Little Dave in the chat, Mr. Johnny Lopez, Sound Media. Welcome, guys. So yeah, for those of you that are just tuning in, this is a little chat with Ice Misto, the Toronto DJ, dancer, promoter, web designer. This girl does everything. Sound
Mhm.
designer, it seems now. Like you didn't put that on your bio.
Yeah.
And this is the first of a series of kind of chats I'll be having with some of the guests of our SNE X Goodbeat weekender that's happening in June of this year. Um, have I got the flyer? I have got the flyer. There's the flyer. This is for the YouTube massive later, a little bit later. But yeah, so Ice Misto is playing. We've got Alistair Johnson, old school do right producer, amazing guy. Cabasso from Las Vegas, Carlos Ferrete, Corey Dawkins, you've already mentioned. Design Works, Dave D Soul Rivera from Shelter, Dirty Dale. You've also mentioned. I've got a funny Dirty Dale story in a minute. I'll tell you it. Freckles, Ice Mister, obviously. Jason Palmer, you've mentioned, your higher ground resident partner. Johnny Lopez in the chat. Casey, Nick Holder, the legendary Nick Holder. Portia, uh, out there in Argentina. Ray Prasad, Ray, Rubberline in Vegas. Some geezer called Rob Coley. Don't know how he got on the bill. Russell Joseph, Susan Estella, Tyrone Solomon of 83 West, and Zara Habib, who I'm going to be talking to on Wednesday. Yeah, so it's a packed 3 days of just vibes. Big love to Alicia for putting this all together. It's going to be, you know, I'm super looking forward to it. Basically, I think it's going to be super nice. So yeah, no, randomly, you know, the Dirty Dale thing. There was a guy that came over from Toronto that I used to go dancing with, and he put me onto Dale, like when he was like DJ, was it DJ Arsenal or something? I can't remember the exact name, but it was like, yeah, this guy's the most amazing DJ in Toronto. You got to listen to him. You got to listen to him. And then years later, um, I ended up raiding him, and I was like, "Oh my god, you're the same guy. This is so weird. It's like full circle." I know you're big friends with Dale, so you know.
Yeah.
It's, I also look forward to seeing Dale in Toronto. It's we've had a lot of funny, strange moments in life just in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so right now you're kind of hanging out with Jason monthly, doing Higher Ground.
Hmm.
Is that right? Now, High Ground's a radio show, right?
Yeah. So, um, the party that we do is at Basement 254, and that's every other month. How Jason and I actually started working together is that I stalked him at Footprints, which was his like monthly party.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where I learned a lot about what his like musical taste and like what he's been doing. And then so much so that I started, he put me on to be a promoter for his jam Footprints
Mm-hmm.
because he noticed that a lot of dancers came through when I came through.
Yeah.
Um, and that's how we, yes, I stopped it. He has really great taste in music. And then, uh, yeah, from then, we started doing a jam at that as a promoter called Brighter Days, and that's
Mm-hmm.
with Yogi, Dirty Dale,
Yeah.
Jason Palma. And I think it started off as a New Year's Eve party, and then it became a monthly. And the other promoter was Prabdeep, and Prabdeep plays a big part of my life. So he hosts and makes a lot of events in Toronto, and he advocated for me to DJ Brighter Days, and that would be the first time I ever DJ with Dale and Jason Palma and Yogi, which then is they started putting me on their parties from then.
Yeah.
Uh, Prab Deep is also my link to Secret Garden, which is Rob DeBoom's party that he used to do every summer
Mm-hmm.
at the Harborfront at Joe Bird.
Yeah.
So that was my connection through both Jason Palma, Dale, Rob DeBoom. Um, so yeah, Prab Deep plays a huge part.
So you're right. You're basically right in the thick of it, right?
Yeah,
You're the lady with all the boys.
yeah, yeah, basically, yeah,
I guess it helps when you know all the dancers, right? They're like, we need some dancers at this party. Let's call
yeah.
Sandra.
Yeah, that's essentially my stick. Like I bring all the dancers in, and the dancers don't really know where to look for that too, and so I help promote. And that's like honestly where people really elevate their dance in is when they actually go
Mm.
to the club rather than the dance studios.
And do you do dance classes before the events as well? Is that a thing?
Yeah, so the day that I DJ'd for Brighter Days, we did a hustle class with my collective TO Hustle sessions. And we did that for Secret Garden as well. And I try to insert like dance classes so it just becomes one and the same
Hmm.
space. Yeah.
And is it always hustle, or do you do like different dances
Uh, and I
for the
feel like
classes? I guess.
yeah, it's usually hustle because it makes people socialize,
Yeah.
as opposed to house, cause or like house whacking. It's a little bit harder to teach those in loud places, I find, but sometimes I'll insert those in as well.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
No, it's super interesting. You know, because we live in a world now where everyone's just going to gigs with phones, right?
yeah,
London. I do find it a little bit odd. I mean, I was out last night seeing Muscle Cars, and the bar was packed, but everyone was just kind of pogoing. And
hmm,
it was just, you know, like back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, I'd go to Dingwalls and places like that, and you get all the jazz dancers and people throwing down. And, you know, I think it's lost a little bit in London now. There are still spaces, you know, there's a good DJ at making moves. You know, came here. Lars Berenhoff came here about was it a year or 9 months ago, and there was definitely some dancers there getting down, but it is very much now transient crowds that come in, and I do miss the that dancing scenario a lot.
yeah,
I appreciate it's probably a bit more prevalent in America and Canada because of the scene, right? But
yeah.
you know,
Actually I find that in Toronto, the access to clubs now it's more so bars, so I could see why more of this the bobbing, standing, lyric like karaokeing is more
yeah,
to that because of this tight spaces.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I've been blessed to be able to like DJ in spaces that have a like a spacey dance floor.
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
I used to love doing my jazz dance because literally you could just play anything, and people would just be like, "Yeah," and I was like, "This is why I DJ."
yeah.
It doesn't happen anymore, but you know, we'll work on
Well,
it.
hopefully you could make it happen when you're here.
So no, I know, you know, it's not about me. What is your vibe right now then? So I mean, you've run the whole gamut of kind of sounds and rhythms. Where do you see yourself now in as a? I mean, do you just play? Are you open format? Do you play? Is there something that you lean towards?
Yeah, I used to play a lot of like just open format before, but now it's more when I do parties, it's more like disco house.
Hmm.
Um, just because like I like the vibe more and the
Yeah.
reciprocation from it. And then I still do street dance battles. I tend to now do more sound design for it, or like help facilitate new organizers on how to put these things together, how to fund them,
Yeah.
how to advocate for grants and stuff like that. So I'm more in the more mentoring end, but I do still do street dance battles. I still do parties,
Hmm.
um, and I do a lot of graphic design for the the
Yeah.
battles now. Yeah,
You're definitely the person to know in Toronto if you want to throw a party, right? You got the
yeah,
dancers, you got the design skills, the sound design, one stop shop.
yeah,
No, super cool, super cool. So, have you always lived in Toronto? You born in
yes,
Toronto,
yeah. I'm from Jane and Weston. It's like the hood,
the
but now
hood?
I'm like downtown. Yeah,
Okay. No,
Yeah.
that's cool, cool. And so how do you feel like? I mean, do you travel a lot, or do you? I mean, that's a bit of a loaded question, I guess. But I
Yeah.
mean, have you experienced other places around?
I've
I don't know, Canada or America, or
I've only gotten the funds to be able to do that the past 2 years. So
uh-huh.
before I would just like would wish I would be able to travel, but I just didn't have the job or like the money or the savings for it. I would
Hmm.
spend all my money on organizing dance battles, and I've been trying to pay off the debt since then. But now I'm having a responsible mode, and now I'm
Yeah.
able to travel. And I go to New for Vancouver quite a bit for a street
Hmm.
dance festival.
Okay.
And then I did go around Ontario quite a bit too. So the universities like University of Waterloo, I did one in London before. Just like advocating for like street dance in universities. Hamilton is another
Hmm.
one. Um,
I think this is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Literally, I had no. I mean, I knew you danced, but I just didn't realize you were so entwined in everything.
yeah,
It's super cool, super cool.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess how are you feeling about Toronto right now? I mean, I guess having lived there all your life and seemingly been partying since day one. How is it? How's it feeling right now in the city?
It feels really like I really like Toronto because every niche you could think of, it's here. Music is really pushed in any kind of genre that you enjoy.
Hmm.
Um, so I enjoy the mixture of that. In terms of street dance, it's grown so much, and it makes me feel like really feel really great about it because it's now people are feeling more um, able to join things. Like they
Hmm.
don't feel too like people still feel shy about it, but like they feel like a little bit more empowered to attend to things, to try new things, even with like music and stuff. So
Yeah,
um, yeah, that's what I mainly like. Everyone says how Toronto's multicultural, but in terms of like the the arts culture, it is like quite multifaceted,
yeah.
and
And what's the music that's most prevalent in Toronto at the moment?
um piano is
I'm a
huge.
piano. Yeah,
Just in
everywhere.
general, yeah, like UKG. Um, a lot of the club culture is really big.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of that, and like uh, jazz bands are getting another like resurgence, which is cool. Lavender Town, Reverse, they're like really great.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, like it's just like a lot of opportunities to like if you have an idea, you could probably go for it. It just takes a little bit of like investment
yeah,
and just like doing it consistently. I feel that's how people could get their opportunity.
yeah. It's the cadence is everything.
Yeah.
You need to kind of run something for at least a year, 2 years before it. It's the same. It's the same here. I feel.
Yeah.
And you need the venue to also invest in you and go. I'm going to give you all right. We'll give you some time. But again, that can be quite difficult. I assume
Yeah.
if you haven't got everything.
Yeah.
No, it's just so. Will you interpret some kind of live bands in the high ground vibe, or
Not quite
just
just yet. I feel like we're still rebuilding it. I brought up Footprints because like a lot of people think about Footprints vibe, the party,
hmm.
in higher ground. So I think we're still just like building it to see like what it becomes before we start adding things in.
Super cool, super
Yeah.
cool. Well, I appreciate it. I mean, look, you know a lot about music. Jason knows everything about music.
Yeah.
It's got to be a nice party, right?
Yeah.
Um, cool. I'm just trying to think. One thing I was going to ask you. You mentioned a Korean chicken place to me the other day.
Yes.
Can you tell me
Sarang
what it
chicken.
is?
So Sarang chicken's pretty cool because they provide like sensory toys for you to like play with because that's what they're advocating for
Right.
different people with different abilities. So they take a while to make their chicken.
That might be useful
Um,
for TT.
yeah,
We could put TT in the corner with some toys.
yeah, it's really fun. And then it's like the Korean chicken itself, it's really soft inside the way that they make it, and then it's crispy. And then
Okay.
there's like you could get different type of spices, but generally they're pretty much dry rub, and then they
Uh-huh.
have like sauce on top of it, but it's not like where you marinate that sauce.
Right.
Yeah.
I have to, at this point, I have to say that other Korean chicken places in Toronto. So, or we're not advocating for just this one. It's just we had this conversation the other day online, and I didn't actually write it down. But
Yeah.
no, this would be cool. Yeah. So that's wicked. Well, I think I'm super excited to meet you. I'm super
Yeah.
excited to kind of be in the same place as all these people. It's been interesting in the last 3 years, and to be able to jump on a plane and come and see you guys now is super nice, especially because of everything that's happened over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Is it?
You made such a platform for us. And it yeah, appreciate it.
Well, I don't think it was me. I think it was just kind of like there's all these guys over here doing this. There's all these guys over there doing this. And I'd like everyone over here to come on over here and we could just all do this together. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what we did, right?
Yeah.
Are we going to see you back on Twitch anytime soon?
Yeah.
This is the room where you Twitch, right? This is your streaming room.
Yeah, yeah. It is. Yeah. I changed it. So I used to be here where my
Uh-huh.
turntables is.
Yeah, I
I've
remember.
moved. I've now that I just work from home mostly, it's like I'm using this desk more.
Yeah.
So I've changed things around, but I've made it so it's still streamable. So I think on after May, I get some Fridays, like half day Fridays from work. So I'll join here and there for
You need to hit me up on those
Fridays.
Fridays. Give me
Yeah,
give me a month's notice and we can make something happen.
yeah,
We do.
I'm
We
down.
need we need more Ice Misto on Twitch for sure.
Yeah, I also might be streaming games more too, so you'll see
Right.
me
You
doing
know
that.
what? You should link with Lola Reynolds.
Yeah,
I know that she's been trying to sort a gaming channel out at the same time. So maybe you could you could create a little vibe,
yeah,
a vibe thing. No, cool. All right. I see Ekaz Junior has just joined the chat. Salute, sir. So yeah, perfect. Well, I'm gonna keep. It is your Sunday evening, and it is definitely my Sunday evening. I'm sitting here in the dark, so I thank you for spending some time with me today. It's been super interesting. What if I guess if someone was coming to Toronto and they wanted to hit up some street dance kind of things that was going on, what are the names that they should be looking out for?
yeah. So I do a lot of advocating for street dance in general. So
Yeah,
I have my collective is called called Funky Facilitators. So
yeah,
funkyfacilitators.ca/events will have street dance events across Canada.
right.
Um, and so you could find dance battles there. For specifically Toronto, I put a lot of parties that have a dance floor that allows dancing. I know that sounds funny, but there's places that I've gone where people just like look at you strange and don't want you to dance because you look too cool or you look too silly and whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, I advocate for parties that are open to that,
Mm-hmm.
and safe for that. So yeah,
And
funkyfacilitators.ca slash
you were
events.
doing the little list, right? That was you were attaching onto your Instagram. Are you still doing that?
Yeah, guides.
The guide, sorry, yes.
Yeah, Instagram like deprecated that, so I had to find a different way. So that
Okay.
was the new way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Google Sheets or Google with a link to bio.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
might work.
Yeah, I actually that was my first
Or just
iteration.
design something really nice in InDesign or something and just
Yeah.
link it as a PDF. That could
Yeah.
work as well. Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I will be back in daylight on Wednesday. We're gonna catch up with Zara Habib, 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Is it 2 p.m.? I think it's 2 p.m. my time. From Lunar Rotations. That will be quite nice. I'll have to be on my best behavior for that one. I don't think I'll be able to be super jokey. But it's all good. And then yeah, like I said, if you're watching this later on, you can follow Ice Misto Please on Instagram, Ice Misto Please, and also Twitch, Ice Misto Please. If everyone follows her, I'm sure she'll start thinking that she needs to stream some more. And I feel like I should get you to do one of the Lost in Rhythm sets as well. We should probably do that as well. That would be quite nice. You could go like completely out there and do some crazy stuff for me, dance
Yeah.
floor vibes. And like I said, if you are watching this on YouTube, this is open to everybody, not just the Twitch family, but we've got a whole massive event going on. Friday the 7th through to Sunday the 9th. Whole stack of amazing DJs. Not an EDM or what's the guy with the big head? I can't remember what his name is.
Dead
Something
mouse.
Mouse. Dead Mouse, not a Dead Mouse inside. Well, not a DJ Dead Mouse. I mean, all the venues should be nice. I don't think there'd be any dead mice. But yeah. So please hit up goodbeatentertainment.com for your tickets. I will be there. I will be, and also my colleague, my Saturday Night Experience colleagues, Johnny Lopez and TT, will be in the building. It will be super cool. Honestly, I'm super looking forward to it. I did New York last year. I'm doing Toronto this year. I can't wait to see my Toronto family. And I assume I get to leave while you are still all my family and I won't have annoyed you all. But no, super cool, super cool. So big love, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Sandra, once again.
Yeah, thank
I
you
look
for having
forward to catching up with you online soon. And in June, we will obviously see each other. How do I get this back? There we go.
me.
Yeah. So everyone have a great Sunday, and I will catch up with you on the next interview. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.